Viewer discretion advised.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Weird Wednesday, and welcome to the Morning Horde Rush. You're on Stereo Dread, powered by Dezombified. How's everybody doing today? Go ahead and bring in my co-host, Gothic Rose. Come on in, Gothic Rose.
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
Go ahead and do a roll call. Looks like we've got a lot of people in the chat today.
Yes, we got Bathsheba. Hello. Super Queen Dragon. Nina Love.
There's Pumpkin Queen. Gothic Rose, you're in the chat as well.
Yeah, Pumpkin Queen.
Tanya Jones. Hey there, glad you could make it.
The awesome
Unicorps.
Mia Mina in the house.
Don Sharp, listening at work. Hey, bud, thanks for showing up. We appreciate it.
And Horror by Numbers. So excited you're here, Horror by Numbers.
Yeah, love to see Horror by Numbers in the house. And I just quickly wanted to give my condolences to Super Queen Dragon Kestner. Her boyfriend's mom passed away. And, sorry to hear that. Condolences from us here on the Morning Rush. Yeah, let's see if there's anybody in the chat that we've missed. I don't think so. Seeing everybody.
I think we got everyone so far.
We got everybody. Today we got a very special guest coming in with us.
Yes.
I know him on Twitter and YouTube.
Mommy.
Hails from the Hanged Man is with us. Come on in, Hanged Man.
Hello there. How are we all doing, folks?
Hello. So glad to have you on.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's
very
good.
excited. Love
It's
that
great to
accent
be on.
too.
Thanks. From the wilds of Staffordshire, it is. The wilds of Staffordshire.
And I'm originally from the wilds of East Tennessee, and then we've got Gothic Rose from the wilds of Canada. So we're very diverse this morning.
Oh,
Yes.
To have everybody here. This is what para-unity or horror fam unity looks like.
Exactly. And welcome, Timothy.
Hey there.
Moran, you're good to see you with us.
And
Hi,
Jose,
Daniel.
welcome.
Hi, Banshee. Oh, hi, horrors. Oh, can't you tell I've not done one of these before?
Dezombified's in the chat too. Hey, Dezombified, good to see you there. Thanks for having us all on this morning or
Hey, DZ.
afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are in the world.
And make sure to like the stream, guys, and share.
Like, share, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. The bell notification so you don't miss an episode. Great way to support everything they do here at Dezombified. Thanks again, Kenny Dreadful and Miss Stereo, for making it all happen.
Yes.
the chat catch up here just a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and get
Say hi
into
to
it
the
with. Hey, is that Talon I hear in the background?
Yes, it is. Tal, you want to say hello to the Z Horde?
Hi.
Hi there.
Talon.
Say hi, Z Horde.
Hi, seahorse.
That's so cute. A little zombie in training there, or a D-zombie in training.
Here's your yogurt, honey. There you go.
All right, we'll go ahead and dive right in here. Tales from the Hanged Man. So good to have you with us. And
Great to be on, man. Great to be on. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
oh, our pleasure. Just I love the concept there. When I first found your channel, I was just blown away.
Same.
The aesthetic is that's a pub that you've wandered into in some little town out in the middle of nowhere, little village, and inside the pub, which is called the Hangman, there's all these tales circulating.
Mhm.
Absolutely love that idea. How'd you come
I
up
love
with
it
that?
too. So different.
Oh, thank you. So the way I come about it, it's a mixture of a few things, really. Have you heard of the Jim Henson, the Jim Henson series, The Storyteller?
Yes.
Yeah, it was kind of like that because I wanted a storyteller sort of character, because like that's sort of my character on there. But then at the same time, I work with this guy now, oddly enough, but he used to be a barman at the pub that sort of represents the Hangman. That used to be like a rock pub called the Black Friar. And this barman, I always remember going in there, and he'd be very engaging, like with the sort of stories he'd tell. They weren't sort of stories like paranormal stories, but he'd sort of try and hook you. And I thought, right, I want to do something like that, but like with sort of paranormal, folk horror, sort of haunted tales. And with like pubs, everybody sort of comes and goes through pubs. If a barman's on his own or something, there's a good chance that like he'll end up talking to one of the punters in there who's just sort of wandered in, and then sort of they start chatting, and then weird tales go through, really. So that was the concept. And also I think pub atmosphere is kind of nice. It's sort of something you can like listen to whilst maybe having a pint or something, and just like soak up the ambiance almost.
Awesome. Very good idea, and it works so well. It reminds me, if you've ever seen American Werewolf in London, that's one of my favorite horror films. The scene where they stumble into the Slaughtered Lamb, which is this little pub out in a village somewhere, and just the people there, and I've been to the UK, and there are little pubs like that. I love the names, like you mentioned, the Black Friar, and they all have these really unusual names. The Screaming Woman, just that's a reference, a Cure song there. But I love the pub culture there, because that's the hub of activity. That's where everybody meets. That's where everything happens, and where you get your news, and where you have a pint and a bite to eat. And I've got a friend from Ireland, and he says that's why AA is basically non-existent in Ireland, because all the meetings happen at the pub, and it wouldn't do any good. So.
I mean, again, like the pub culture in Ireland is again like quite different from like the UK. I mean, like they've still got that almost sort of bardic like tradition going on. That they like really are into, like if you go into a pub in Ireland as well, like there'll be people playing sort of like instruments or something. It's again like quite different. Whereas over here we sort of it's definitely that it used to be more of a culture of you'd finish up work and then you'd go to the pub like maybe on a Friday evening and usually start the weekend early.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, they do really get into the music more in Ireland. Like I've wandered into one pub there and saw just the most amazing band doing like Johnny Cash covers with they had guitars and things, but they had like penny whistles and flutes and things going on too, and it was mind-boggling, but it was amazing nonetheless. Of course, the Guinness helped set the tone there, but just all over the UK there. Now you mentioned folk horror. That's something that I really love, and there's a revival going on now. I remember the last folk horror revival back in the 70s had films like The Wicker Man and a lot of the Hammer horror films, which were among my favorites from that time. They kind of followed along that tone as well.
Definitely, yeah.
What do you think about this new folk horror revival, the going forward by going back, sort of?
It's fascinating. I think a lot of it, I mean, is due to a lot of things that are going on socially in the world in many respects, and I think it's very much like you say that looking back and like almost trying to embrace older sort of times. But I think as well with folk horror, there's sort of warning there as well why that might not necessarily be the best thing to do, and it's all based on perspective. There also seems, I think, to be like a definite sort of spiritual revival as well that's come along with like the whole sort of the new folk horror revival. It's just something I seem to notice. People are definitely getting in touch and showing more of an interest in certain pagan sort of ideas and iconography as well. So like going forward, I can see it really depends. I mean, like the last time, like the folk horror, like there was a folk horror revival. It's sort of I've heard jokes of people saying, "Oh well, you kind of had a revival, but then also got was Incense and Dreamcatchers," which I think is somewhat unfair.
I think it's one of those things, they call it a revival, but it never really went away. It's just more pronounced or more in the spotlight. But I know recently films like Midsummer, that kind of harkens back to the Wicker Man for me. And I like the original Wicker Man. I'm okay with the Nicolas Cage remake, but it's hard to beat the original, I believe.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the Nick Cage one, it's got a certain charm, but the original is brilliant. And there's loads of weird stories about the original, about like the production and things like that. Because it was supposed to take place in May, like on the May Day festival, and apparently it was all shot in October. So when it was pouring with rain.
And another thing I've noticed, there's that in the folk horror, there's that element of kind of like you have in the Wicker Man of the crops and the earth. It's like, we have to do this or the earth will punish us, and things that they do to ensure a good crop, because in those times that was your livelihood, whether you ate or not depended on whether you had a good growing season. And a lot of people forget about that in this day and age of convenience and going to the Whole Foods and getting whatever you need. There was a time when you have like the potato famine and things like that where people, if the crops failed, that was it. If you didn't have something put away for hard times. And I like that aspect of it. It kind of goes back to a lot of the earth religions, like you mentioned, paganism. I know the Wiccans, even the Druids, they all have that element of recognizing the earth. The Native Americans have that. They didn't really know what it was, but it's the sun god, corn, maize. They look at the corn sliced in half, and you could see an image of the sun in there. So and then that's kind of a resurgence in the American stuff too. Like you have Harvest Home and some of those. The American stuff is a little different since it is Americanized, but it still kind of goes along with that folk horror vibe. And I didn't mean to cut you off there. You were saying?
Oh, no worries. I totally agree with that. The new Pet Cemetery as well definitely seems to have like a very folk horror aesthetic. I mean, the scenes in that seem to be almost like especially with the animal masks and things. That seems to have a very sort of
that, and the whole idea of I think they described it in the film as the ground turning sour, and that's sometimes dead is better. That's from the first one. I haven't seen the new one, but it's just, yeah, there's something I want to ask you about. And I see this often on Twitter. I follow a lot of the folk horror. I've seen you use this. It's spelled WYRD. What is the correct pronunciation for that?
Oh, it's just weird. The weird. It's sort of an Anglo-Saxon concept. It essentially means magic, like the weird, but like the inherent magic and like all things that are sort of.
Thank you for clarifying that for me. I've heard it pronounced weird, word, weird, kind of like wired almost. But I get the concept of it. It's, even though phonetically it's like weird, it does seem to be more about fate and fortune, and I love that concept too. That people talk about the weird being loose and the weird, coming to the forefront, and just interesting concept. Are there any particular books or stories from the old revival and the newer one that you would recommend for people wanting to take a look into this?
Well, for the like newer, like sort of folk horror stuff, like folk horror films, I'd say certainly you've got Kill List, which is an interesting one, by not Dennis Wheatley. What's the director's name? Something Wheatley. If anybody knows, stick it in the chat there. Not Dennis Wheatley, that's the horror writer. But anyway, Kill List, A Field in England by the same director. Also a cute little film called Sightseers, which at first you don't think is folk horror, but then it sort of definitely gets going with the folk horror. And also The Borderlands. There's been loads just recently. I mean, like you mentioned earlier, Midsummer. But for the first folk horror revival, I'd say you can't go wrong with the original, what they term the Unholy Trinity, which is Witchfinder General with Vincent Price in it. Oh, that's great. I watched that last night, actually, like before. And yeah, just it's a vicious little film. And then you've got Blood on Satan's Claw, which that one definitely goes into the whole concept of like the land as the land being a threat, almost a threatening sort of land, and things coming from the earth. A lot of the shots are like shot upwards from the ground, and it's like you've got this real sense of threat. And it's also about children piecing together like parts of Satan from other children's flesh, which is a grisly concept. And then, of course, The Wicker Man. But if people want to go further back than that, then Hexen and Night of the Demon, which I believe is an M.R. James adaptation of Casting the Runes. Again, M.R. James, the writer M.R. James, it seems to be embraced a lot by the folk horror community at the moment as well. He seems to be very much a folk horror sort of a writer, but he was an English academic into like medieval history and whatnot, like old sort of ecclesiastical books and things. And it's sort of, again, like much like what us guys do, we write a story and then tell it like online. Sort of M.R. James is like the precursor to that. He'd write a story. He wasn't that prolific, and then he'd he'd tell it to his friends at Cambridge because he was a lecturer at Cambridge, and that's where this sort of ghost story for Christmas tradition that we used to have in the UK, and I believe, like again, much like the folk horror revival, it's coming back. We've got an M.R. James adaptation coming this Christmas. I forget which story it is though. So yeah, M.R. James, anything by M.R. James if people want to like read any folk horror. And then a more recent book I've been reading, which has definitely got a folk horror vibe, but I wouldn't say it's full-on folk horror, is All Among the Barley. A great insight into rural life in 1920s England, in the West Country. I think it's the West Country. West Country, yeah. So yeah, Oh, went on a bit of a ramble there.
Oh, that's great. Love the info there. I have to check some of those out. Already a big James fan.
Okay, I'm just gonna go a quick roll call.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got some.
We do a quick roll call. We have some entertainment. And we've got Happy Trails. And of course, we have the awesome Bad Vibes.
All right, Bad Vibes did a great job last night. So, yeah, MD Entertainment, Cubby for Life.
There's Aisha.
Yeah.
Hi, Aisha.
In the house.
Aisha, of course.
Anybody else here? I think we got everybody. If we missed you, be sure and call us out on it in the chat. Oh, Will Screedia. I missed you there. Good deal.
Will Screedia. Hello.
But yeah, those fascinating Tales from the Hangman. Have to check those out. Definitely, I'm already a big M.R. James fan, and just some wonderful, wonderful ghost stories in some of the volumes I have of his writing. And I do like the tradition of the ghost story at Christmas, and I'm happy to see that that's kind of coming back. Because here in the States, a lot of people forget, that A Christmas Carol is really a ghost story. And
Favorite ghost
probably like
story
the most well-known Christmas story and ghost story for that matter.
It's like my favorite.
It's amazing. I mean, I think the thing with A Christmas Carol. I mean, when you think about it, because nowadays we kind of like watch A Christmas Carol and think, oh, it's all cute. I mean, you've got the Muppets Christmas Carol and whatnot, and it's like, oh, that's cute, and it's a story of redemption and everything. But when you really think about it, A Christmas Carol is like terrifying. Like there's almost a sort of existential horror sort of thing to it. Yeah, like imagine that. It is. It really is. I mean, being faced with your past. I mean, the Ghost of Christmas Past. I mean, it's like if we think about if that was to happen, to one of us, it's like you're taken back and shown all these things. You'd be like, Jesus, I did that then. I used to dress like that.
Yeah.
It is, and it's just the inherent sadness in there. I mean, you have the tragic figures like Bob Cratchit, sitting there freezing while he's working because Scrooge won't, give him another lump of coal for the fire. And Tiny Tim, the crippled boy at home he's basically working to take care of, and it's just, it's a really, really sad tale. Like you said, it's been Muppetized and there's cartoon versions of it and things, and it kind of leads you away from the existential horror that's there just under the surface of the tale, and what harsh times those were. And again, it goes back to people not being able to eat or not having enough to provide for their family, having to work Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. It's really a tragedy of sorts.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well. I mean, I was watching a documentary at some point, and they were saying that it was Dickens that kind of revived Christmas. Almost he was a contributing factor, but it was sort of Dickens who revived Christmas actually being celebrated as a big thing in Britain, because before then apparently everybody had worked Christmas. It wasn't seen as all that big. And so part of him writing A Christmas Carol was to really strike home that no, this is an important day and we should sort of be celebrating it. It's quite fascinating in that respect.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll have to seek out that documentary. I love hearing the backstory on things like that, and then the effects that it has that people don't see or don't think about or tend to forget about. It's like here, they show that on television, but you have A Christmas Story, which is different. But even that, it has elements of tragedy in there. A
Mhm.
poor working class family in, I think they're in Iowa or Wisconsin, wherever it is. And all the kid wants is a BB gun, and it's.
Yeah.
I think any good story, even a happy one like that, you got to have a little bit of pathos in there just to kind of balance things out. You can't have happy all the time. Just like life, there's going to be some down times. There's going to be some gray days and some rain to go along with sunshine.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, and that's another thing as well. I mean, like, as much as like Christmas is supposed to be like a celebration as well, like when we look at it like back from like the sort of pagan times and what like figures like Santa Claus and whatnot represent, it's a very sort of dark time of year. I mean, like, Santa is a sort of mixture of a load of different archetypes, like Odin being one of the archetypes as well. I mean, the idea of this sleigh being pulled by reindeer, like you've got like the what was it? It's like an 8-legged horse, is it? Sleipnir or something like that. It's like an 8-legged horse that Odin rides through the sky. And then you have like the tradition of the wild hunt, which takes place in winter as well. So it's like weird how that concept of like the wild hunt and sort of also gift giving as well. I mean, that's another thing like with like the sort of pagan god Odin, is that he was like a gift giver. Like he had this ring that dripped other rings, and then these rings would be given to like champions and whatnot.
Awesome. And I'm also glad to see that Krampus has kind of made a comeback, at least here in the States. 10, 15 years ago, you could have mentioned Krampus and nobody would know who you're talking about. And now, like here in Portland, for example, they have like haunted attractions that are open at Christmas time, and they have Krampus, who's like the opposite of Santa Claus. He's bad kids, comes and puts them in a sack and carries them off. It's like very Brothers Grimm type story there.
And like, yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, they used to have like, I guess they still do, but in Germany it used to be a big thing, and it sort of migrated its way over, because they had like, I think in Germany and Austria and also Switzerland, they have like Krampus festivals, don't they? Where they actually make the masks using real animal fur and horns, apparently, and they warn people in some of these festivals, because each sort of village and area has its own sort of variation on this, like what is essentially a folk practice, and like apparently sometimes it can get really violent, like in the way that because like Krampus, like he has like a birch which he sort of like hits children with, and apparently like they do that in these festivals, and in some festivals it's just sort of a like that, but then other festivals you're told that's more for the locals, just keep away from that one, because you will get beaten quite harshly.
Good to know.
A charming little tale of Christmas.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, where you get for Christmas? Oh, to the Krampus festival.
There's even that tradition in the U.S. that bad kid Santa would leave a lump of coal or a bundle of hickories or switches, to sort of suggest a beating, but Krampus actually goes for it. All right, fascinating subject matter here. We're going to take a short break, give everybody time to stretch. Going to go for the Horde anthem here, so get ready, everybody.
Here we go.
All rise. Get ready to shake your zombie booties.
Oh, yes, that would be the best.
Yeah. No worries, man. No worries.
All right, here we go.
Okay. So
shake it like a Polaroid picture, folks.
This one goes out to all you Dezomba friends, the Z Horde. We want you to know just how much we love you.
Shout out to Ophelia Noctis, creepy clown girl, dark carnival got this. A look on nightmare, it's so amazing. Puerto Rican Jose's entertaining. colors. Dog man is twisted. Nation 1994, really gifted. Dustin Flemings, stronger than the rock. Hellfire's out here making everything hot. Yeah, Braden 23 of fire is a G. We're kryptonites down, kid, he's family. Now there are times when we all need gore. Danny Martians in the house, never know what's in store. Mandy Mortem is legit and a queen. Gothic Rose enchanting, she's on the scene. 13 past midnight, things that go bump in the night. Gory B, horror addicts are out of sight. Big ups to the late horror show. Emily's Adventures in Horrorland, here we go. And you know we gotta keep them dice rolling. MD Who Entertainment, she's been chosen. Give it up for the evil outcast. Swedish mom is dope, yo, you know she got class. So if you get bad vibes from storytelling, then these monsters in my mind will leave you yelling. You see, we all about hearing stranger stories on the creeps. So sweet, she really got love for me. Penny tails up, narrating for the win. Queenie Tade amazing, but real dark and grim. Dementor centaurs, flickathon, swamp dwellers. Scolded 22, they be our fellas. Anime Atome, time he lives. A fantastic panic, deep paranormal history, great graphics. What's up, Bullet Greedier? I meant CP. I'm gonna guess so bent with nefarious TV. Slumberies are the morbid. Cap 7, truly salmon. And we can never forget about Karen. 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 Karen.
Promo. Go.
Okay, we are back. Hope you all had a nice stretch there and a little bit of a shake and bake, as it were, with the Z Horde anthem.
Oh, yeah.
Now then,
Oh, yes.
got a special message from Tales at the Hangman about our awesome mug selection here on the screen.
Oh, yeah, look at that mug selection right there. Go on, get yourself down to the Teespring Dezombified store. Go on, get one of them mugs. I'll put you now special in it. Go on, go now. Right. Is that good? Did I do good?
You can take that to the pub with you and have them fill it full of Guinness. Or as you see here on the screen, you can put your hamster in it, your toothpaste, or your flesh-eating plant.
Oh, yeah, flesh-eating plant. Got plenty of them. Plenty of them.
Awesome.
And there's other ways you can support the stream. Donations are gladly accepted if you don't want to buy merchandise. But hey, if you don't have any money to spend, you can still support the stream. You're doing it right now. You're here in the chat. You're a part of this movement. What's going on here? Kenny Dread and Mysterio have something special. They've got lightning in a bottle here. And you can support them by sharing, hitting that subscribe button, the like button. Get the word out about the Z Horde.
Oh, yeah. Get it right out there.
It's spreading.
Yes, spread it like a virus. Oh, yeah.
Spread the virus.
And I gotta say, Dezombified, let's Reed shouted you guys out on his stream last night. He said you guys were really awesome. I'm not even lying to you. He said he had a great time. I have to let you know.
Thank you for that bit of information, Gothic Rose, and let's read if you're out there listening. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that, and we so much enjoyed having you on the show.
Oh, man. We're out of here. We're out of here.
And we appreciate all the support. We appreciate everybody getting up early. Not quite as early today, so you got to sleep in a little bit, but we're glad to have you here. We were just talking during the break there amongst us how the horror community, especially on YouTube and on Twitter, it's just such a nurturing, such a wonderful place. Hangman was talking about how other communities on YouTube, they're kind of snarking at each other and at each other's throat, trying to copy strike each other.
Yeah.
All these nasty things. As somebody tweeted once, and I thought it was the perfect summation of it, that the horror community is like farmers in a war-torn country. They're just going about their business and trying to do the best they can and help each other. But now, getting back to what we were talking about there, thank you for clarifying weird, because I'd seen that word and I'd heard it pronounced that way a lot of other ways. It kind of reminds me, when I was in the UK, I went over into Wales, and some of the names of places there, it looks like something out of H.P. Lovecraft, like you're trying to summon a demon or something. Some of those town names, they took all the vowels or most of them out of the Scrabble tiles and then just threw them on the table and said, that's what we'll name our town.
Yeah.
I was in one place, it's like CLYWD. That's, I'm an American, I don't know how to say that. Because it's Clwyd, I think. I'm still probably not saying it right.
It is a very sort of difficult language to sort of pronounce sometimes, and like once you've like heard the name and then you try and put it to the letters, you're kind of like, really? That's what that says? Like Landfair Caridian, like that place, it's got like loads of just like letters, and you're just like, comfrey pots? What? What is that?
Some of them will have perfectly normal names, and then you come across the, Cthulhu Town or whatever. It's like, how do I even begin to pronounce that? And everybody got
some
laughed
of those
when I
names
would
like
try to
pop up
say
in
the
some
title.
stories, and I have to like look up 80 videos to try and pronounce it.
And a lot of times those videos aren't any help, especially the ones where it's the robotic pronunciation. No. I think they do those just to troll people.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to get it wrong. Someone's going to call me out.
Hey, man, have you ever been to Wales? There's something very dark and very earthy there. I don't know what it is, but it's just like a dark land. A lot of people are coal miners and people that spend time underground, and there's a lot of really dark tales and just the darkness that pervades the whole country, I think.
Definitely. Oddly enough, like I actually lived in Wales for about 4 months when I was studying in the south of Wales. I was studying at a university called Trinity College, Carmarthen. And Carmarthen actually, like they believe it's got something to do with Merlin. It's like sort of the English translation is like, it's like Kai Merden, and in English that means like sort of Castle Merlin. Although this is all really down to conjecture. They don't know if there is actually any sort of link, but there's always been like a sort of link between Merlin and Arthurian legend in Wales. And like you say, yeah, it is quite a dark country, and I think much like with England, Wales is sort of a microcosm of that, in the sense that like the north of Wales is very different from like the south of Wales. I think you find more Welsh speakers in the north, whereas in the south they're a bit more easygoing. Really, like the north is probably where you'd encounter those little villages where you walk into a pub and everybody's talking English, and then as soon as like they hear your accent, they immediately start talking Welsh.
I've been in some of those tiny pubs, like everything stops and all eyes are on you. And it's like, I hope I make it out of here alive. I don't become a legend of the American that wandered into the pub and was never seen again.
Quick roll call for Huntress of the Unknown and Slumber Reads.
Hey guys,
creepy
clown
girl. The chat there.
Hey, creepy clown girl.
Invite her. I think we're caught up on the chat there. Creepy clown girl, you had mentioned that you wanted to call in and speak with our guest today. You still want to do that?
Oh.
Okay, well, while we're getting that set up, Tales from the Hangman, do you have either maybe a paranormal experience of your own or a short story from the Hangman that you could favor us with this morning?
I've got a sort of paranormal encounter that I can give you. It's a bit of an odd one, something that happened to me while I was working at a theme park. Always a good setting for a horror, a theme park. So yeah, would that be suitable? Would that be all right?
Great.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'd love those kind of stories. Give us just a minute here and we'll get a special spooky background up for you.
Here we go.
Okay. So yeah, am I good to go? Good to go? Good to go?
Yeah,
right then.
Good to go.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so I used to work at this theme park in the Midlands called Alton Towers. Alton, the little town of Alton that it's in, is actually quite a haunted place in and of itself. There's something called the Chained Oak, which is apparently a cursed tree. It's all chained up, and that's a story in itself. Which I can tell at a later date. But the paranormal experience I had was actually on the park grounds at Alton Towers. You see, I used to work what was known as the twilight shift. Now, there was never we were the only twilight shift because we worked up at the top of the park in the biggest shop, which everybody passed through there at the end of the day, and it constantly needed restocking. So we get in at about 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and then sort of work until everybody had left, and then we'd go for our dinner. So just to give a bit of a geographical information about this, so Towers Trading, where we worked, is just a bit around the corner from Alton Towers HQ, which is where you've got your canteen and cafeteria and all of that. And then just across the way from that, right at the back of Towers Trading, is the stores, where we get our stock from. Now, we'd sort of gone and had lunch when everybody had gone and had tea anyway, and come back, and it was around 8 p.m. in the evening. We went down to the bottom of the shop to check if the delivery was there, because we always used to get a few pallets of delivery. And there was nothing there, so we're oh right, we'll just go and doss in the office, the top office, for a bit, because we always knew when stores was dropping off, because we'd hear the click clunk of the shutters going up. So we went up to the top of the office, dossed around for about half an hour. We used to do this really naughty thing where there was one of these chutes, which sent bags of cash to the cash office, the cash office, which was just next door. And we used to think it was hilarious to stuff little stuffed monkeys into these things and then send them firing up. And then the next day, the cash office people would see these monkeys and these little sort of tote things and be what's this? So anyway, I digress. So anyway, eventually we heard the click clunk of the shutters down at the bottom of the shop. So we went down, no pallet. Right, so that's strange, we thought. Must just be stores playing a trick. So we closed the shutters, went back up to the top of the store, started to do a bit of titivating here and there, just putting things, making sure the shop was clean and all that. Then about half an hour later, we hear this noise again. The shutters go up again. So we go down to the bottom of the shop. No pallet again. So we're right, this is taking the mick now, because the way it worked is we were employed to work until we put all the stock away, and then we'd go home. So we're waiting on this pallet, and it's getting gone by this point. It's around 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night. So we decided, right then, stores are really taking the mick. So like, let's go around there and ask them where our pallet is. So we went round to stores, which was just like about a minute walk around the corner. They'd all gone home. So we were like, okay, that's weird. There must be a malfunction or something with the shutters. So we called like maintenance and they came over. Nothing up with these shutters at all. They said it was absolutely fine. But obviously we had to like sort of then inform security because it's a big shop and say that like the shutters were on the blink. With no pallet to put away, we just sort of went home and left it at that. And yeah, there was nothing up with these shutters, and they just kept on opening of their own free will whenever somebody was like in there. And like Alton Towers, just to give a bit of background, like I say, you've got the cursed tree. The Shrewsbury family that was the Talbot family, even he was the Earl of Shrewsbury, were actually like cursed at one point. There's this whole legend about a gypsy cursing them, the whole thing being for every branch that falls off the old oak, a member of your family will die. And in that story, as often happens in these stories, a branch from the old oak fell and one of the family died. So the Earl of Shrewsbury decided to, being Victorian and quite expedient, decided to like, right, I'm going to chain this oak up and make sure there's no chance of this happening again. And that chained oak is still there to this day, although it's in a bit of disrepair, but it's there. And like to give an idea that this, because there's a ride at Alton Towers as well called Hex, which is based on this legend. And just to prove that this oak wasn't sort of fabricated and put there for the tourists, it's right off the park, just in a really obscure location behind a small B&B, also called the Chained Oak. And the actual chains have been covered by bark. So it's at the point where these the tree has actually started to grow around the chains. So it's a freaky place, and like whenever you go there, there's a definite atmosphere. There's this definite sort of atmosphere. And then of course the towers themselves, there's a number of ghosts as well, a grey lady and things like that. So yeah, that's my paranormal experience. Could just been shutters malfunctioning, but at the time we were pretty freaked out.
Wow, that's a great story. And for those of you that don't know, Alton Towers is a theme park in the UK. I think that's Staffordshire. I think that's
yeah, it's Staffordshire. Yeah,
probably not saying that right. But similar to a Disney park or a Six Flags, lots of rides and things there. And the theme parks here have those stories. I worked for Disney a while in Orlando. I was doing a live show production there. And they would have things on the security cameras. There's a YouTube video where you can see, looks like a shadow figure coming out of the Haunted Mansion of all places, passes through the gate and continues on walking through the park.
Wow.
There's a lot of stuff that happens in those theme parks. And you think about that, that's maybe somebody in life that was the happiest they had ever been. Disney likes to bill itself the happiest place on earth, so maybe that's where some people choose to go back to. Another thing that happens often at both of the haunted mansions in Florida and in California in Disneyland is people will smuggle their loved ones' ashes in there and throw them around on the ride. They catch that on videotape. They have to stop the whole ride and go in and clean the place. So unless you're very, very stealthy, you can't get your loved one's ashes in there to stay, but it does happen. It happened a couple of times when I worked there back in the early 2000s.
Wow.
There was the whole thing with the, I don't know if that's just an urban legend, but with the them using actual real skeletons on Pirates of the Caribbean, wasn't there as well? Like that was another thing.
I've heard that, and then there's other rumors of that, like in the original Poltergeist movie. Apparently the skeleton's in the swimming pool with Jo Beth Williams, I think. some of those were actual skeletons from India. And then there was another tale. I think it was that was out here on the West Coast. I may be wrong. Everybody in the chat knows, correct me. But there was a dummy in a haunted house ride in a traveling carnival, and it turned out to be the skeleton of a gunfighter that had been killed back in the 1800s. Somebody had taken the body on tour, which was common back then. A lot of times when the bad guys met their fate, somebody would buy the body from the family, if there was any family to claim it, and then take it on tour. And for a nickel or a dime, you could view the skeleton of Jesse James or Billy the Kid or some other particular bad guy. Well, this was a gunfighter, and whoever owned the statue or the body rather, had sold it a time or two. And then it ended up in, I want to say it's a fun house in Long Beach, California. And one day while they were doing repairs, they took it down and going to repaint it and discovered bones inside it. And they're like, this isn't a dummy at all or a mannequin. This is actually somebody. And then on further inspection, they found ticket stubs stuffed in its mouth where people had, when they viewed the original body, they had put their tickets in its mouth for good luck, supposedly. I don't know how that
God
be considered good luck. But now that one is one story. And like I said, I've heard the one about Poltergeist. I'm not sure about Pirates of the Caribbean. I have heard that. But another fun Disney fact there, Pirates of the Caribbean in California, when you first go down that big drop into the water, if you look up, you can see windows up there, and there's tables. That's actually Club 33, the secret Disneyland club. Some say that's a Masonic angle for the number 33. Walt Disney was a Mason. That's one of the most exclusive private clubs in the world, and the only place in both Magic Kingdoms that I know of where you can actually get alcohol served to you. Now, that's not Epcot and things like that. Look up Club 33. It's all true.
Oh yeah,
that's
Club 33.
I need to look at this. I mean, the whole Masonic thing is it is fascinating. I mean,
I've delved into that. I'm not Masonic, but my father was a 32nd degree Mason, and I never saw anything evil about it. I don't know if people are just misinformed or if there's actually, higher up degrees. The 33rd degree is an honorary degree, and he never went for his 33rd.
Just the rituals that freak people out, to be honest.
I think it is, and just the fact that a lot of times those lodges there's no windows, and the doors are kept shut. And there's actually a lodge here in Portland where they have rock and roll shows certain times of the year. They call it the Black Lodge or something like that when they have those, but they actually rent an active lodge from the Masons. And I went there and saw some experimental electronic music, and it was amazing being in there and seeing the columns and the pillars and the checkerboard floor and all these things that you've read and heard about, and to be actually in one of those lodges. And another really strange one is the Oddfellows Lodge. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they use actual skeletons in some of their rituals and things.
Wow.
I've heard a little bit about the Oddfellows. Is that kind of like the Skull and Bones Club? That's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Skull and Bones, I think that's at Yale University, and that's a lot of captains of industry and presidents have been Skull and Bones.
A lot of people in politics are in there.
And they supposedly have the skull of Geronimo that they stole from the burial site. Tried to make them give it back, but so far that they denied having it, even though it's claimed that they do. So.
Yeah, it's weird, like how these sort of exclusive clubs, there's always some talk about like a skull or something like that. I mean, it goes back to the Knights Templar. Like they were sort of accused of having a skull, and that was originally the Baphomet, this head which they apparently worshipped. Like what we consider the Baphomet now, with the big goat-headed thing, that's a fairly recent sort of thing. Developed the original picture of it, developed by Eliphas Levi, I believe. But the one they were accusing the Knights Templar of sort of worshipping when everything went wrong there. that was apparently like a kind of a head in a jar, almost. And I just find it strange that it's sort of carried on through like other lodges and like pseudo secret societies where there's rumors that they've got this like head or skull or something that they kind of venerate. It's interesting. I just wonder why that may be. It's bizarre.
It's fascinating, almost like their fetish or their totem, that they have for these rituals. And a lot of that is, you have some of those different types of religions here. You've got the OTO and the Lema, and some of the Crowleyites and those people. And then I've noticed that in something I was reading the other day, there's kind of a resurgence in Wicca and that type of witchcraft in England. It's one of those things, I don't think it ever went away, but if you look back to like Gardner and Buckland and some of those, it's kind of always been there.
Well, this is the thing. Again, like getting back to the folk horror thing, like a lot of like this sort of Wicca and paganism and spiritual and like sort of alternate spirituality also seems to be coming out again. Like for example, going back to what you said about Crowley there, as you know, like Boleskine recently got burnt down. It got torched.
Yeah, I was reading about that. There's a really, really good book out called The Led Zeppelin Curse. It goes into great detail about Boleskine and Crowley's influence on Jimmy Page and Jimmy Page's collecting of Crowley memorabilia and stuff. It's really dark, really fascinating. And makes you wonder, and it points out some things I never noticed. There's a concert film of Led Zeppelin live at Madison Square Garden in New York, and in the book it said go back and watch the video that Jimmy Page, when he's playing his Les Paul with a violin bow, he's actually using it as a wand, and he's calling out the corners like a magician would in a ritual. I went back and watched it. Sure enough, he's up there doing some things, and you see him calling out the four winds, the four corners there. So it was, the book speculated that he was using that intense energy from all these fans in the audience and putting it into some sort of Crowley-esque working that he was doing there without anybody's knowledge other than his own.
Well,
that's sort of very likely. Like this is the thing. Many people like look at the magic and like sort of, especially like ceremonial magic, and think you've got to have all the circles and stuff. But a lot of like the belief, this is like the belief in magic. Again, I read a lot about like sort of magic and occultism because it definitely helps me when writing my stories. Like I really like to draw on that sort of thing. But like there's a lot of belief that like any energy sort of can be tapped into and then like sort of projected outward. And so it's definitely feasible that like Jimmy Page could have been using that. And then as well, look at the amount of bands that like sort of have pentagrams and things like that, like in their sort of band images. These are like real strong sort of images that like the subconscious mind like sort of just notices straight away, because it's like, oh wow, that means that. And it's interesting. It's certainly interesting.
Quick roll call here real quick. We've got Miscast Entertainment, and we've got Sean G, Chasing the Truth, and also Paranormal Heart Podcast.
Hello.
Those of you that were here with me last week, Kat came on and as a guest and kind of a co-host with me. We had a great time.
Sorry, I just realised because I've got my laptop here as well, and I'm logged in as my partner. Kimberly Baker just said hello, folks. That was me.
And hello, Kimberly Baker. Welcome.
So yeah, that's me. Sorry, I'm using like the phone as a microphone and everything. So, hello, folks.
Hello.
I'm a bit of a shambles.
And my son saying hello. He can't help himself.
Hello, baby.
Okay.
Hello, baby. Hello, baby.
Hello, matey. What are you, a pirate now?
A Swedish mom in the house. Here's a link for Tales from the Hangman's YouTube channel in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, Talon is having a ball with one. We need to have him on sometime. Let him co-host. Does he like horror? Does he like scary things? Gothic
He
Rose?
does, to a certain degree, yeah.
And I think
Like on
it's
Halloween,
good to
like
expose the kid to things like that at a young age. That way they're not afraid of everything. I did that with my daughter, got her used to, because she was curious, and wanted to see what I was watching, and I tell her the same thing my parents told me. If it bothers you, stop watching it. And
yeah,
she developed a lifelong love for horror, as did I. So
yeah, he has his moments where he's scared, but then other times he's totally all for Halloween all year.
yeah, it was funny the things that would scare. She slept with a talking Freddy Krueger doll, but she was scared to death of Pee Wee Herman. And I don't,
oh yeah,
you remember the Glad sandwich bags used to have a commercial where a little smiley face was drawn on a finger that was Finger Man, and he advertised the Ziploc bags. She was scared of that. And then also Taco Bell had a commercial back in the 90s when they first came out with their hottest hot sauce. And at the end of the thing, there was like a guy in this native garb out there dancing around and shaking a spear around a fire. And it would say, "It's hot, man." Well, she heard that as Hot Man. And in her mind, Hot Man was this demon, this fire demon guy that would come after her. So it's funny that the things that they pick up on that aren't scary at all and make something scary out of it.
yeah.
And I used to do the same thing when I was little. I remember on Captain Kangaroo. Showing my age here, there's probably not too many people that ever watched Captain Kangaroo in the chat. But there was a segment where there was almost like a mime type thing where it was a black background and there was just somebody wearing white gloves and that's all you could see. And the hands would kind of come out and dance to a song or mimic whatever was going on. And that would scare the daylights out of me. I would see those hands come up on the TV, just black screen with a pair of white gloved hands. And I would run screaming out of the room. No idea why that bothered me, but it did. So, and yet I could watch Dark Shadows, sometimes from behind the couch, or Night Gallery. Those are some of my favorite shows. So strange how you can pick something. Wow, there's Tales from Hangman in the chat there.
Figured it out. I'm such a Luddite at times, really.
There he is.
Appreciate you going the extra mile for us, man.
Yes.
Did a sound check earlier and got everything ironed out and ready to go. Tried to stay on top of things here and stay ahead, make it as fun as possible. But hey, it's live. Anything can and often does.
Yeah. My the soundtrack did not include my son in the background, so. Swedish Mom, have a good day.
Bye, Swedish Mom. Thank you for coming by.
Bye, Swedish Mom. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll get on that. It's Discord's quite new to me. I've not really used it that much. Like I say, I'm really for a while, like with the stories and that, I was like literally writing those down on paper and sort of reading. Like I can be a bit stone aged at times.
Yeah.
Paranormal Heart podcast, Cat Ward is asking in the chat if Cisco Murdoch, she has a paranormal podcast. She wants to know if Hangman had ever been on Cisco's shows. Or no, he hasn't, but I could see it happening in upcoming. Cisco has a show called Journey Through the Gate, paranormal podcast. She's my partner in crime and co-author. We wrote a book together. And in fact, she's going to be my guest on Friday, if you tune in for that
Ooh.
stream. But Cisco and Kat and I are
Nice.
good friends, and we kind of guest on each other's shows back and forth. If you haven't checked it out, check out Kat Ward, their Paranormal Heart podcast. She has a lot of great guests. Just recently, she had Dixie Cryptid on there, and that was just an outstanding show. They're all good, but that one was one of the best. And Hanged Man, I noticed the story that you did, the one that you just released recently, that you kind of got over into the cryptid area, and I was really kind of shocked to see that there's Sasquatch or Bigfoot stories in the UK like that you'd rounded up.
Yeah. There's a couple. There's the ones. I mean, like Panic Chase, for example, which is not far from where I live. Actually, it's sort of getting closer towards Birmingham, but it's just a hot spot. That's why what I've kind of done with that is done it in a series of like sort of all the weird sightings of creatures, cryptids, and ghosts and whatnot. That have been sighted up in Panic Chase. But yeah, like people have seen like a Bigfoot type creature up there. There's also been Bigfoot like Sasquatch sightings in places like Devon and I think Cornwall, East Anglia. And I think as much as like the UK doesn't really have what you'd term a Sasquatch tradition, there's definitely like this concept of the woodwoes, which is a which is a whole European thing, and like these woodwoes are essentially wild men who live in forest that are generally quite tall and hairy and big, and that's kind of a lot like Bigfoot when you think about it, and they appear in like loads of medieval art, heraldry, and stories. So you can kind of see the like links there between the Sasquatch tradition and this idea of the woodwoes. But again, as well as the woodwoes, we've kind of got this idea of there's a lot of sightings of like ghost apes and ghost monkeys, like that's, which is quite strange. There's a Welsh castle, in fact, that has a ghost monkey that's called Satan, which is quite interesting.
And one thing that I've noticed about, and I read a magazine called 14 Times. I know you're familiar with it there, Hangman. I see a lot of in the cryptid reports in there, and there's seems to be a prevalence of black dog sightings, and then these large black cats that supposedly are native to Britain.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
I mean, like with the sorry about this. Yeah, like with the black cat sightings, a lot of that, there used to be like a law where you could keep black. Yeah, there used to be a law where you could keep. Sorry, I was just having a bit of technical trouble with my end there.
Okay.
Yeah, but there used to be a law where we could keep big cats in the UK that they suddenly sort of discontinued. They got rid of this law. So a lot of the people just kind of released like these cats and stuff. This is a theory anyway, that a lot of people just released their pet sort of predatory cats into the wild, and they've somehow started breeding and surviving in the wild. And that's why we get a lot of these black cat sort of sightings. Apparently, that's one of the theories as to why we get these so-called alien black cats. Again, at Cannock Chase, there's been sightings of the black cat over there, but with Cannock Chase, I think like somebody would say they'd seen a dragon and it'd end up in a newspaper. You know, it's one of those sort of things.
But still, it's great to see those reports of things that are, you know, true cryptozoological fashion, animals that are out of place, that don't belong there. In Tennessee, we had kangaroos in a cornfield one time. There have been black cat, black panther sightings there, and even though there's not supposed to be any in that area, there are. I personally saw a lion one time in Michigan. It was just kind of trotting along the side of a swampy area. Turns out it was somebody's pet that had escaped, but it's still kind of startling when you're just driving down the road and you see, an animal that's totally out of place that you wouldn't normally see in this country outside of a zoo or, some sort of enclosure.
Yeah, it's almost like uncanny valley sort of thing, isn't it? It's like that's not supposed to be there. It's strange, isn't it? It's really disconcerting because we have our own sort of like everyday view of things, and then like when you see something that's so obviously out of place, you're kind of like, whoa, like what's that doing? That's strange. I mean, on the Staffordshire Moorlands, you should mention like kangaroos. We had a colony of like wallabies, which are like a smaller type of kangaroo, like living in the Staffordshire Moorlands for a while, which had escaped from a private zoo, and people reckon that they still sight them here and there to this day. So it's really strange when you get these sort of species flourishing out in the wild.
Stories of escaped pets, or in the South, though, the popular tale was that there was a circus train that had crashed one time and the animals escaped into the woods and bred. And then there's theme parks they have in New Jersey. I can't remember, it's like Jungle Land or Safari Land or something like that, which was an animal theme park that went bankrupt, and there's rumor that they just turned the animals loose. So somewhere out in the wilds of New Jersey, there may be tigers and lions and bears. Oh my!
Oh my!
Speaking of bears, going to go into some news articles here real quick.
Oh, Creepy Clown Girl says the link isn't working.
Staffordshire, by the way, Paranormal Heart. It's in the Midlands of England. Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Okay, and the other day we talked about a guy in New Hampshire had sent a letter to the editor of the paper saying that he thought that the bear break-ins in their area was actually Bigfoot, because according to this gentleman, bears don't have opposable thumbs and can't open car doors. Well, the bear in this video, this happened in Tennessee in the Smoky Mountains, one of my favorite areas to write about and talk about, where I grew up. Bear does indeed open the door on this van. There's two bears there. They look fairly young. Those aren't full grown, but they're beyond cubs, but probably halfway between a cub and adult. But they don't have any problem getting the van open. They went through and ransacked. These people were vacationing from Michigan in the Smoky Mountains. They're driving a rental van, and the bear actually broke in and stole some Pop-Tarts and a bag of dirty diapers. So
It sounds like they were doing the parents a favor.
They were kind of worried about the bear scratching the leather seats. But yeah, take a look here. It opens the door right up. So and I guess the guy in New Hampshire that was so sure that bears couldn't open car doors, they were able to do it here without any problems. That was awesome. We love bear stories here. It just kind of happens that way. We had a bear recently that stole the dumpster from behind a marijuana dispensary and made off with it. And it's like bears are showing up in the news, and a lot of people go to the Smokies and they see bears, and I've even seen people get out and try to take a selfie with the bear, get too close to get a picture. Don't realize these are dangerous animals. And especially if it's a mama bear and you get between her and her cubs, you are asking for it. So if you do see a bear in the wild, keep your distance, stay in your car, don't stick your hand out the window. They don't like to be petted. They're just hungry.
Yeah. It's like they're cute, but yeah, they're a whole load of nope, aren't they? Really, it's like, no.
The farther they are away, the cuter they are to me.
Yeah.
And that's true. I think with any kind of bear, even the ones that really look cute, like the panda and the koala bear, they're vicious. Koala bear has these long talons and a little tear you apart with. Same with the panda, they can be vicious. The thing about the koala, I think the eucalyptus leaves or whatever they eat, I think it kind of sedates them. So as long as they're in that state, they're not as dangerous.
Yeah. I've heard something like that. That they're apparently quite like lazy creatures in general as well.
Yes.
Like so, yeah, they're and there's another like sort of thing about koala bears, but it's definitely not for your time of the morning. Like, yeah.
Dopey the bear in the chat. That's what we nicknamed the one that stole the dumpster from the weed dispensing family. Some animals. We've got Smokey the bear and Dopey the bear. So.
Well, there. I was proven wrong. Bears can open doors.
Yeah, I kind of saw the guy's point. I think maybe it depends on the type of handle too, because some of those it would be very difficult to open without an opposable thumb. But if they lock their cars, that definitely keep the bears, at least slow them down a little bit. It wouldn't be unusual for a bear to smash its way in if it's hungry enough. I know, like near the Smoky Mountains where I grew up, there were bears that would wander into suburban areas, and they would take trash cans and just destroy them, ruin a metal garbage can. So there's definitely some bird strength there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, does Bathsheba want to tell her story, I think? Is that what you were saying, Mysterio?
Okay, well, we can send her a link and bring her on. We've got creepy clown girl in with us. Good morning, CCG.
Good morning.
And while we're talking to you, if somebody can go ahead and send Bathsheba a link, we'll get her on here too. All right. Well, creepy clown girl, how are you today?
Oh.
Like we may have lost Tales from the Hangman. A little technical difficulty there. Bring him back. CCG, can you hear us?
CCG? Mm-hmm.
I heard her at first, and I'm not hearing her now, even though I'm still showing her as in the hangout, and it looks like we've lost Tales from the Hangman. Send him a really sorry.
Oh, there he is.
I got disconnected.
Oh.
I did the same thing one time when I was hosting a stream, or I was a guest on one of the streams, and I went to mute my mic to clear my throat, and I hit the hang up button.
I did the same thing on Monday.
Thankfully, I was able to call right back in. But
yeah.
Okay, CCG, can you hear us now? Nope, she dropped off.
Oh, she's coming back.
She's coming back. I know she had some questions for you. Hangman, like I was saying, she's like super fan. She loves to come on and talk anytime we have a narrator or
Oh, there she is. Hello.
Hey.
Hey there, CCG.
Hey, CCG.
Can you hear me now?
There you
Yes.
are. Okay.
How are you? Sorry for the technical difficulties there.
I'm great.
Hey, CCG.
Hi, Gothic. It's finally nice to meet you this way. And Hangman.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Oh, I love your accent, Hangman, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
And look how many subscribers you have now. Wow, dude. Doing good.
Yeah, it's going really well. It's really nice. It's really nice. Like I say, just the fact that people are enjoying it and definitely, you know, getting a kick out of it. I always like it when people do like that, because as you've probably noticed, I always do the sort of cheers sort of emoji. It's great. Like, people definitely have started jumping on the whole pub theme, which is really nice. It's, like I say, it's great. It's a great community to be in.
It really is, and I know I forget the original name of it, but you, myself, Mad Manimal, Little Lottie, the Watcher, and the others are a part of Manimal's Nights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is.
Yes, he's
Yes.
just cool. Yeah.
We have got to get him on sometime.
Have you recovered from being able to talk to Mr. Creepypasta?
No.
No, you made us all jealous, man.
Sorry.
I was breathing for you, Creepy Cloud.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, you gotta breathe. Take a breath.
You're like,
I was like, before I clicked that call button, I'm like, okay, you can do this. Just breathe. I didn't do it. Oh, that was crazy. I was like, oh, what? I'm just going along in the chat, you know, doing what I normally do, and I get this little message that says, check your DM, and I go, huh?
you're the lucky one.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be back, and he's... Oh, by the way, Hangman, speaking of that, I sent you the links in DM on Twitter to Dezombified and the Carnival.
Oh, nice.
Hashtag on it.
Thank you for that, Creepy Cloud. That's awesome. I'll get on that straight away.
But, oh wow, I love your voice.
Yeah, this is... Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's like I say, it's a bit different to what's usually on the channel. But yeah, this is what we call a Stokey accent from Stoke-on-Trent. Yeah, we make pottery and stuff here.
Oh wow, I love handmade pottery.
It's it was a big sort of place for the pottery industry. Like, if you ever heard of Wedgwood, like Wedgwood pottery, yeah, like that's from like these parts. Like Josiah Wedgwood was like from around here, and
my grandmother had a set of Wedgwood china. It's dishes. It was like heirlooms.
Oh, it's beautiful stuff. It's beautiful stuff. I mean, like, yeah. So like a lot of our like sort of landscape and stuff is very like you've got a lot of old bottle kilns and stuff like that, and it definitely has an effect on the sort of our sort of dialect. The Stokey's quite a unique one, but mine's quite mild. If you were to speak to somebody who was a bit older than me, as an example, like of another generation, like when there was actually a proper pottery industry, that sometimes theirs is like unintelligible. Like, we've got a few different like words, phrases and sayings here that are like that they don't really use anywhere else, which are quite fun, but don't get used as often nowadays. I went on a ramble. I'm a ramble.
Hey,
No,
you're
you're
passionate.
fine.
We're all enthralled
Exactly.
with your voice. They can sit and listen to you talk. As Cat Ward said in the chat there, during Over Heart, we could sit and listen to you read the phone book, literally.
Oh,
I love his voice. I've always, I don't remember exactly, but I was like on YouTube one day and I'm like, oh, who's this? And
Has
All
like
right.
the same effect of like GM Danielson to me. I love it so much.
yes,
Loved GM Danielson. I was in one of his live streams not too long ago, and I said, if I ever win the lottery, I want to hire you to follow me around and narrate my life.
Yes, exactly. I remember you saying that.
oh my gosh. Just those voices. It's just like, it's very distinct. Very distinct. Like Slumber. It's like somebody could, try to fake to be Slumber. You can't be Slumber's voice. It's like Slumber.
And some of them are just so relaxing. Like, I love Let's Read, but I will fall asleep if I listen to him long enough. I always have to go back and listen to the stream 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I'm a mod in a stream, so I have a hard time. I'm like, I gotta stay awake because I'm a mod, but it's like, it's so nice.
Such a relaxing voice. And his narrating voice is different. If you've ever heard him just talking, like
He turns it on like that.
recording stuff, yeah, he can turn it on and off like a switch.
I need a couple minutes.
Just a little catnap will do. I think the other night, in fact, I did I picked one of his playlists, or was it bit of one of them? Anyways, I don't remember going to sleep. Was it Let's Read? I don't know. There was 30 some odd videos, and I'm like, well, just gonna put this on, turn the volume down a little.
And I have people tell me they'll put my playlists on and go to sleep. I'm like, really?
Oh, I've done that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to go to sleep. I'm going to listen to these videos.
Do you have nightmares when you go to sleep listening to my voice?
When I listen to your voice and I go to sleep, I don't even remember dreaming. That's how peaceful. I go out. Forget it.
Thank you. I don't see it. I don't hear it. I don't like the sound of my own voice.
I don't either.
I hear
hate
a
my
lot of
voice.
narrators.
I hate my voice
And
too.
everybody else seems to love it. So right on, like Gothic Rose, I love yours too. Love your voice and your accent here, and some of the Canadian pronunciations. I think
I don't even notice.
Yeah, I love her voice too. You're an amazing narrator, and
CCG, appreciate that.
you really are. Sit and listen to you all day too, which I have, but
Appreciate that.
you guys are just amazing. It's like, wow.
No, you are CCG. We're nothing without you
She's
guys.
the
Seriously.
hardest working person behind the scenes here. Just
I say it all
round
the
of
time.
applause for CCG.
Seriously, you,
Awesome.
Stacy,
Yeah.
everybody. Like, without you guys, we are nothing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Stacy's amazing. She really is.
Good. Ophelia Noctis.
And Mia.
Mary's
Mia.
good.
Best
Mary.
mod.
Lottie.
Mia.
Lottie's great.
It's an amazing community. It really is. And it's like, wow. Because 3 years ago, I was a supporter and promoter of musicians. And back then, my name was different than it is today. But I still help promote some of them. But it all started, from listening to Corpse Husband, the original OGs, and then I found the clown.
Now you're down with the clown, right?
Well, his name back then, I started out as Bleeding Critic, then became Bedtime Horror Stories from the Clown. Now that man has changed his name again, but I'm telling you, if you guys have not watched Uncle, Uncle, I'm drawing a blank because I just woke up. You have got to go watch it. I'm telling you that. That voice, he just.
Yeah. He definitely scuttles into your brain, doesn't he? As he goes.
Yes, he does. He's scattering around in there. It's like, damn, dude. Take a chill pill.
Yeah.
Hashtag horror medication. That's what I call it.
Pretty much.
Have you had your daily dose of horror medication today?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. We got the horror medication and the love diabetes.
Diabetes, right?
All the Z Horde virus. We're a sick bunch here, but in a great way.
Hey, we just made our own potion, y'all. We should come up with the name of it.
All right.
You should get Mr. Creepypasta's wife to make a tea mix.
Oh, yes.
That would be great.
So we got to combine horror medication,
I went on to
love
her
diabetes.
She's got some amazing teas on there. I'd love to try some of those.
Oh, I would too. All right. Who's going to get on asking her to make a potion for us?
Yeah, I need to make a Z Horde virus tea.
Yes.
Something to chill you out, but keep you wide awake. Hey, looks like we've got Banshee joining us now in the voice chat.
Hello, everyone in the chat.
Good morning. How are you? Understand that you have a story that you've been asked to tell.
Sheba, are you here?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
You need to hear your awesome voice. Where are you?
Banshee?
I love the way he just said that.
Banshee?
Oh, I loved it when he was doing the shout outs for the mugs there. That was so. Get your mug. Take it, fill it full of Guinness. He didn't say that, but that's what I was picturing in my head.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, that'd go down right nice right now. That would.
Okay, she dropped off the hangout there. Hopefully she'll be back on. I have a little connectivity issues there this morning. No CCG had a little bit of finagling to get her on. Hopefully Banshee will come back in.
You guys, I am so sorry I'm late. I was late, but my eyes opened and I started it. I was like, oh, no.
That's okay. Yeah.
It's like, wait, what did I miss?
I did that for GM Danielson live stream. It was like the middle of the night. I woke up and I got a notification. He's like, oh, he's live. And I'm like, oh, God. I scrambled out of bed to my computer. I was like, oh, my God. Can't help myself.
I didn't even make it out of bed and I was on this.
Hey, you made it. That's all that matters, you know?
I
Yes.
appreciate you having you here. And I know sometimes when I had an early start, like at 7 a.m., and I would see you on the Discord until 2 or 3, and then you're right back up at 7 modding for us. That's awesome. I'm blessed or cursed in the fact that I don't require much sleep. If I can get 2 or 3 hours, I'm good for another 24, and I've always been that way, but I know a lot of people really need their sleep.
I do.
Sometimes I don't need it, a whole lot like you, 13. That's why I try to, just keep busy or hibernate all day during the day and then up 5 o'clock, time to get up and move,
Yeah, typically I'll nap in the
I'm a vampire.
Get up around midnight, and I usually write from midnight till about 4 a.m. That's my work day consists of writing for 4 hours and reading for 4 hours. This is all I do is my books and my YouTube channel and come on these streams and things. So I like to get up and get everything done and get it out of the way, and then I've got the rest of the day to do whatever I want to do.
It shows in everything that you do, 13, your passion and everything.
It shows that
incredible.
it's done by somebody who's sleep deprived and half mad, right?
Hey, it makes the best stories, right?
Oh, it does. And just in that time of the night, especially after midnight, it's quiet, and I live alone anyway, so except for Mulder, my little dog. But it's just it's quiet. You don't have to worry about anything going on outside. Usually, maybe there'll be a train or something going by, but it's a nice time. Sometimes I'll go sit outside and just think, and then go back in and start writing. And just once you get in that groove, it's hard to quit. There's been times when I've started at midnight and then look up, and it's like, oh, the sun's up. I got more than my 4 hours a day, and then the 4 hours reading, I do that usually research for either stories I'm writing or something along that effect. And then beyond those 4 hours, I pleasure read a lot too. I love books. Books are my life. And read.
My sister has enough books that she could start a library.
Yeah, I got a mini library in my house right now. That's for sure.
A ton of actual books. And
falling off my shelves.
My devices, I've got a Kindle, I've got an iPad, and some other devices. I've got thousands and thousands of books, literally more than I'll ever read. But I've never at a loss for something to read, so that's a good thing. And I'm also a lunatic in the fact that I'll read 2 or 3 things at a time and jump around from book to book to book.
I'm so much
and I write the same way. That's how I avoid writer's block. If I get stuck somewhere, I'll just jump right into another project, pick up where I left off. And sometimes it's good to kind of step away, and then your brain will resolve that little conflict or difficult scene or whatever you were working on before. So it may not work for everybody, but it works for me.
That's
awesome, and it shows.
That's very good advice.
So I have a question for all 3 of you.
Okay.
What do you see in the future of your channel, and where do you want to take your channel?
Ooh.
Good one.
Yeah. Ooh.
You stumped us for a second.
I'll just refer to Gothic Rose or Hanged Man, since they're guests here.
Yeah, go Tails.
Okay. So like for the future of it, that's an interesting one. Because like I'm branching out like into different things. I still want to do like my stories, like my original stories that I'll write up and then perform those. And then Folk Night seems to be people like Folk Night thing. So like with Folk Night, I'm going to sort of formalize that a bit more. And like I've recently done the Creepy Canic sort of series. So once I've moved on from that, I'll probably like pick a topic and then do a few videos on that and then sort of go through different topics. I'm also thinking of introducing a new character and looking at like sort of old grimoires. That's another thing that I was thinking of doing. So it wouldn't be the Hangman character, but it'd be still linked to the bar, and it'd just be a different character or a reference to one of my stories, talking you through these like old dusty sort of magical texts. Things like that.
Amazing. Looking forward to that.
Oh, me too.
That's exciting.
What about you, Gothic Rose? What's in your future?
Well, I'm hoping to first of all write more of my own original stories, because I want to prove that I can write too, even though I'm the slowest in the world at it. But I also just want to hopefully improve my skills with the audio and hopefully use more sound effects and just make it more of a theater. You know, like what GM Danielson does, or Mr. Black Pasta, since they are the ones that I admire the most.
Theater of the mind.
So hopefully, I'm hoping someday I'll get to their level.
And I think you will. You've got that magic.
She sure does. All of you do.
And as for me,
you all have amazing channels.
Backwards, I'd written 3 books on the paranormal and then co-authored another. And one day I'd been listening to narrators for fun. I thought, yeah, I'd like to try that and see how I could do at it. So I just started narrating stories from my books, and it kind of breathed new life into the books. And then I found that I enjoyed the narrations doing that. So I went out and bought all this pro equipment stuff, and now I find that I'm writing stuff to narrate that'll eventually find its way into another book instead of the other way around. And I've had training as a screenwriter, and I've written some indie scripts that were produced, but not by any place or anywhere that you would ever hear of. I think they went to cable TV in Mexico or something like that. But I'm working on some film scripts in the.
That's exciting. That's exciting.
Been approached.
Very exciting.
Film rights for my first book, and they kind of what they want to do with it is do like a
Her mic's
almost
off.
like a Tales from the Dark Side or Tales from the Crypt type thing, where it's told in vignettes with a common theme. So I'm working on a spec script for that. I'm going to try and get a development deal so I can sell them the whole package, the book rights, and then here's the screenplay for it too. Had it optioned once before, it never went anywhere. The studio that optioned it got bought up by a bigger studio, and they ended up shelving all the projects that the smaller studio had on the books. So I got paid for the option, and then it reverted back to me after a time. So that's great. That's like finding money in the street. But obviously, I would love for it to get produced and something that I've written be actually made into a real film instead of some of the indie stuff that I've been associated with in the past.
That's amazing.
And,
That's
also
amazing.
I'm like on my channel, I've kind of gotten into the strange disappearances thing, which sort of ties in with what I've been doing, and then kind of leaning toward maybe a little true crime here and there now, but I'll still do the creepy true stuff. And then I've got some original fiction stories that I'm maybe going to start narrating those. So lots of things going on for me.
That sounds very busy. I actually have another question real quick.
Sure.
If there is one piece of advice that you can give someone is up and coming in the horror community that wants to be a narrator, what is the one advice that you would give them that would help them in their journey?
I would say don't be afraid. You know, just do it. Don't hold back, and don't be afraid to reach out to the community.
Awesome advice.
What about you, Hangman?
Seconding sort of what Rose said, but as well, I mean, in regards to like technology as well, because I know for some people like that can be a bit of a barrier. They can think like maybe, I've not got the right specs of computer and stuff. I can't do this and that. It's like just kind of do it. I mean, like I don't use a PC to do anything on my channel. I use my mobile phone to make everything. So it's kind of like just go for it. Use what you've got and then like play to your strengths. Really.
Exactly.
Good advice and very amazing. And I'm surprised at
Very
the number
good.
of creators I've discovered lately that they're recording on their cell phones.
Nightmare Files does.
Like I said, I went out and bought a $300 microphone and a boom and a shock mount and audio interface and a mic activator and all this. And then here's somebody, I've already got a smartphone, like I could have done it on there. But I approached that way and I don't regret it. You know, I've got the stuff here, but that is good advice. I think just don't be afraid. It's like Wayne Gretzky once said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So
yeah,
go out there
So
and see
true.
what create your channel, put it up there, run it up the flagpole and see who salutes, as they say. But I guarantee you somebody somewhere will like what you're doing. There's an audience, especially on YouTube. It's so varied. There's so much different content out there.
Exactly.
And I think that any kind of horror content is going to find an audience of some sort.
Yeah.
And just do it. Same with the writing. I've encouraged so many people to write. Like, oh, I'd like to write a book, but I don't know how. If you can talk, or even if you can't talk, if you can type, you can write. You don't even have to be a good speller anymore. You've got Grammarly and spell check. All this stuff. Everybody's got a story to tell. Tell those stories. Tell the stories of your family, your friends. That was how my first book came to be. It was stories that I'd collected from my family and friends and people that knew my mom and dad and stuff going back from when I was little. And some of those particularly, I had an epiphany at my grandmother's funeral that all the stories, all the creepy stuff, all the superstitions and all that, that dies right there with her unless I, take up the mantle and carry on. I didn't know then what I'd be doing, but later on that was, a big deal in my books and my retelling of all these tales. The South has this great oral tradition, but that's kind of fading now that with all the technology. I think people don't talk to each other one-on-one that much. They do in venues like this, but the oral tradition has kind of been lost in that regards. So this way, through writing and through narrating and putting it out there, that legacy lives on. A lot of those people that I collected those spooky stories from through paranormal encounters, they've passed on, some of them 20, 30 years or more now, but they live on in my memory and the legacy that I've created in passing those stories along to future generations. And technically the internet's forever, so hopefully when I'm gone, the stories will still be out there.
Great advice. Thank you.
And I think Bathsheba, she dropped off again. I'm not sure if she couldn't stay and chat with us, or I think she was having technical difficulties there. Sean G is asking about Jack tales. I've never personally told those, but I do know what you're talking about. Those are very popular in the South. There's a storytelling convention that I used to go to in Tennessee, and they just have these brilliant people get up, and basically they're narrating, but they're just sitting on stage. They're not reading it, they're telling you the stories. And the Jack tales are pretty popular there, and it's for those not familiar with them, look them up. It's Jack was a figure who was always getting in trouble with the devil, and he would try to trick the devil. Like one time the devil wanted Jack to paint his house, or he wouldn't let him go. So Jack sets fire to the devil's house and said, okay, I painted it a pretty red. That sort of thing. It was Tales from Appalachia. Thanks for bringing those up. I might look into narrating some of those because they're a lot of fun. They're kind of silly, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but they do have a little nugget of truism. Maybe a little more.
That kind of sounds like a continuation of the whole Jack-o'-lantern origin story, almost.
Yeah, Jonesboro, Tennessee. Thank you. I couldn't think of the little town. That's where they have the annual storytelling convention. I've never performed there, but I've gone and watched some of the storytellers. If you're around that area in East Tennessee, I think it's in the summertime when they have it. Definitely check it out. You hear just some fantastic storytellers.
I have one more question, if it's okay.
Sure.
Okay, if there is one narrator, past or present, that either one of you would love to collab with, who would it be?
One. I go.
That's a tough choice.
Two of my favorites are tied, so.
Do we have Bathsheba back?
Her mic is muted though.
Okay. Well, I would say the one that I would like to collab with is my favorite GM Danielson. I would have to write something specially for him, I think, in order to do a collab like that. But I just like Tales from the Hangman. He's got that beautiful British accent, and just it would be
do all
Tales from the
kinds.
Hangman. I wouldn't be averse to collabing with you sometime either if I had it.
Oh, yes.
Anytime.
Yeah.
I'd be well up for that, guys. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the accent. I've picked people before because of their accent. I know I had Fox's narrate a story for me, and she wasn't a narrator, but I loved her voice. She's German, and just loved the accent. I had a story about a haunted doll that worked really well. She did it, and it was great. So, and
That was a great one.
Pumpkin Queen, she's another one. She's got beautiful accent. And I've got a couple of stories that I'm going to be having her narrate for me. And Gothic Rose, same with you. You had just started, I think, about the same time I did. And I caught one of your videos. Oh, wow. I want her to read one of my stories because I've got a lot of stories that are told from a female perspective, and I feel silly, reading about something where, and then I was pregnant with my third child, and my husband it doesn't play well with my gruff voice. I know a lot of narrators just read it anyway, but for me, I like to give it to a female to read when possible. It adds an air of authenticity to the story.
Yeah, it's been so cool to grow with you, Tails and 13. We've grown together. We started around the same times.
Yeah, my first video was February 11th.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Well, I remember when you guys started and everything, and look where you guys are now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an awesome premiere the other day with Hellfire Gothic.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was
You guys did an amazing job.
I'm so proud of what he did. Like,
yeah, he did a great job.
I was very happy to premiere it earlier for him because he told me it would be 2 a.m. for him in Germany if I premiered at my usual time. And I'm like, oh no.
I did that recently. I prepared Spearfinger at 2 a.m. just to be doing. I was up. I just finished it. I thought I'm going to go ahead and put it up. Again, I want to shout out Mercury the Scribe and Kenny Dreadful of Dezombified. If you haven't heard it, you need to hear it. He did the most amazing job on that. And then
yes, he did.
The season premiere of Mountain Monsters mentioned Spearfinger. I had no idea that was going to happen. So the next day, all these people are searching YouTube for Spearfinger, and they're hearing Kenny Dreadful narrate my story. That's the most successful video I've had to date. It's been out a little over a week, and it's already up to over 1,400 views.
It's amazing.
Congratulations. It's amazing. Can we get some clap hands emojis in the chat, please?
For Kenny and for Mercury the Scribe.
Yes.
Did the voice of Spearfinger, and then Kenny did just this expert, masterful narration that he really knocked it out of the park. He
nailed it. He's low, very talented,
very white, kind of smooth speech there, and it worked so well. So I'm in the process of coming up with some other stuff, not only stories for me, but I'm gonna give Kenny some stories to put on Dezombified's channel. I know they want to kind of get back into doing the narrations themselves, narrate some stories and things. So I'm going to try to hook him up. Hopefully I'll write something that's worthy of his wonderful narration.
His voice, he's someone else that I could sit and listen to all day.
Absolutely.
Really could.
And Miss Stereo. I always tell her she reminds me of Lynn Thigpen. If you don't know who that is, if you've ever seen the movie The Warriors, she was the anonymous lady DJ that was guiding the gangs through. And then she was also the voice of the live action Carmen Sandiego. Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego on PBS? But she's a famous voiceover actress and actress in her own right. But Miss Stereo's got those late night FM tones like that. Every time I hear
she does.
I wait for her to say, "Okay, Warriors, let's see if you can make it back to Coney."
A collab that I would love to see. Well, actually, there's two, and it was tweeted on Twitter. And I said the one collab I would love to see to have is Swamp Dweller, Fear Crawler, Vidith, Bad Vibes, and Slumber Reeds all together in one video. Yeah. I managed to get Bad Vibes, Vidith, and Slumber down for it. So, but another collab I would love to see is Nightmare Files and Kenny Dreadful together.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. I think they would go together very well, and it would be amazing.
Agreed.
So what about you, Hangman? Who's your dream collab?
Ooh, dream collab. There's so many. This is the thing. I'm trying to think who the first narrator I sort of started listening to was before getting into the community. I mean, in terms of where I started out in the community, I'd say I listen to a channel quite a lot called Bedtime Stories. Have you guys heard of that?
Yes.
Oh, like that was, I mean, but not so much for the narration. I mean, he's a great narrator, but it's the whole style of the way he does, like the sort of pictures and stuff. There's just a seriously ominous tone to his channel, which is like, I don't know, like it's one of them where it's like I won't sleep if I watch one of his before like bedtime. Similar with the Clown as well. I think who I'd find it most interesting to do a collab with is Quipster Puck. I really
Oh,
like
yes.
Quipster Puck's
Definitely.
like
He's incredible.
the whole like demon mask shtick and like the voice he puts on it's really cool. It's really cool. That'd be an interesting collab, I think, definitely. But like
I definitely think so.
Mm-hmm.
Quipster's a ham. But I'd like to see you, Hangman, and Horror Stories from the Clown together, and Quipster Puck. Oh, we've got to so totally get on this.
Yeah, get on that one. TCP. Dezombified said in the chat one day they'd like Morgan Freeman to narrate on their channel, and they wanted to be one of my stories. So, hey, if you can make that happen, I will write a story just for Mr. Freeman. He's another one of those just
Yeah.
Oh, he is
iconic
amazing.
voices. He could read anything, and it would sound amazing.
So yeah, I think my dream collab would have to be Mr. Black Pasta, but that would have to happen a long time in the future because he requires you to have really good equipment, and I need to better my acting ability. But that would be. Can't wait.
Quick roll call here. We've got B in the audience and El Loco Nightmare.
Hello, El Loco Nightmare.
Hello, El Loco. Hi, B. How's it going?
Oops.
And I don't know how much longer we've got here. We're up against the clock, or I appreciate everybody being here. People in the chat are asking for Dezombified to come in and say hi, so let's go ahead if they're
Let them.
available and bring in Kitty Dread and Miss Stereo and let them say hi.
That's
Hello.
Mommy's microphone.
Hello. Hi.
Hello,
Hello.
Helen.
What's going on? Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending on what part of the world you're in. I'm Kenny Dread.
There's that voice.
There's that voice. I was just fixing to say that, 13.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
Hi, Tails. Nice to meet you. I'm Miss Stereo.
Hey,
Watch my phone, please.
Real
Yes,
quick,
I
Pumpkin
tried
Queen
your phone.
says she's got to run. Appreciate having you here. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Nice meeting you, Tales from the Hangman.
yeah, it's
great.
been awesome, man. Thanks for having me on. It's been awesome.
Our pleasure.
Tells it's
Our
been
pleasure.
great to meet you and to talk to you, and wow, this is unbelievable. And Gothic, the same with you. It's truly amazing. You both are very talented and amazing, and I can see your channels going even further than what they are now. And
Right on.
Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
thank you.
congratulations to both of you.
We've got a great bunch all together here, and Dezombified's kind of brought everybody together and given us a home. And just let's have some claps in the chat for Kitty Dreadful and Miss Stereo.
Yes,
You
and
are-
lots of
Thank
hearts.
you.
You guys are
Powered by these
amazing. Thank you so much.
Just, I wasn't sure the time constraint. I could sit here and go another 2 or 3 hours easy.
So could I.
Other people
Sweetly.
have got stuff to do, but these streams are so much fun. It's sitting around talking with my best friends. You know?
Thank you.
This is great. Tales from the Hangman, we appreciate.
Some people
Come
are
in.
saying they
Get
can't
on
hear
with
our audio. Is it better now?
So,
Yeah, you were a little low in the mix, but I can hear you good now.
Gotcha.
But yes, Tales from the Hangman, brother. Thank you so much for showing up, for spending time with Gothic Rose and 13 Past Midnight, and the rest of the Z Horde Nation up in the chat. Please feel free to always drop in and say hello. We'd love to hear from you again, brother. So don't be a stranger.
Absolutely.
I won't, man. I'll be there.
Thank you.
I'll be like bringing pints all around. Bring a pint. Right.
Yes. Cheers.
Yes, I'll be glad to drink a pint with you.
Nice.
We'll all just pop around to the pub and hoist a pint or three.
Exercise.
I don't normally
Exercise.
drink, but I will for you, Tickles. I will.
Nice and frosty.
Exercise, lifting 16 ounces at a time.
A strong right arm.
Yeah, baby. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, I guess
Guys are
we'll
so
go ahead and
Hi,
wrap
creepy
this up
clown girl. How
pretty
are you?
Hi, Mysterio. Hi, Kenny. How are you guys?
Hello,
Yeah,
Lisa, who
appreciate
just
you.
joined the stream as well.
Hello,
Lisa AG is into his house.
There you
Heard here
go.
before. Welcome back, Lisa. We're wrapping it up, unfortunately, but you can always go and listen to the playback on YouTube after it's posted, which it will be just here shortly.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you for having me on. It was nice to
Thank
meet you, Gothic and Hangman, and good luck. And
Thank
you
you,
guys are going to go
CCP.
far. Guys, all three of you are
Appreciate
amazing.
that.
And Kenny, we got to get you in a collab with Nightmare Files. Love you all.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
CCG, thanks for
Bye,
all you do.
CCG. Lots of love.
Lots of love. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
And, don't forget, come back tonight. We have who's the guest tonight?
Victoria
Victoria
Beacon.
Beckon.
Victoria Beacon, yes.
And that's at
Victoria
9 p.m. Is that correct? 9 p.m. Eastern time?
Yes.
9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Check your local times if you're in another part of the world. But again, have a good day, morning, evening, night, whatever it is, wherever you are. Keep us in your hearts and minds and prayers, and we appreciate every one of you. I love you all. Thanks to Gothic Rose for being my
Thank you.
wonderful co-host. She's going to be back with me on Friday and have author, paranormal investigator Cisco Murdoch with us. Tales from the
My mind
Hangman.
with the author, man. I admire authors so much.
Tales from the Hangman. It was a pleasure, sir. Thank you for agreeing to be on. You were one of the
Thank you for
I
having
started
me.
doing these. You were one of the first ones that I knew I wanted to have on. Just had to work out the time difference, and hopefully, well, it's only like a little after 8 p.m. there where you're at, so that's not so bad. Hopefully, we haven't kept you from anything important. Usually,
No, not at all.
an
Not at
hour,
all.
But we kind of ran over today's special circumstances. But it's been a blast. This is
it's great to talk to you, Hanged Man.
Yeah, you too, Gothic. It's been awesome. Thank you so much for having me on, guys. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
Oh, well, the honor and pleasure was ours, sir. Thank you. We'll look forward to your content on YouTube. They've been posting a link to your channel there in the chat. Also, catch him on Twitter at FromHanged is his Twitter handle. Great stuff there. All right, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you back
Have a nice
tonight
one,
on
guys.
Stream, and
See you later.
See you on Friday.
And a shout out to
right.
Talon.
Yeah.
He was great too.
Thanks again, Kenny and Mysterio.
Thank you.
Anytime, guys.
There we go.
Welcome, Connect the Dots. So sorry that you missed us. We are going to be live again, though, tonight at 9 p.m. EST time. So if you can make your way back up here in about about 6 hours, we will be back in the Stereo Dread Nighttime Edition, in which we will have special guest Victoria Becken. Hey Z-Horde, thank you for being here with the lovely Gothic Rose and the wise Steve Stockton, aka 13 Past Midnight. Thank you guys for being here today. Thank you to the hosts. You guys were great. Round of applause for Gothic Rose and 13 Past Midnight. I'm out. 13 Past Midnight. Take them on home.
Yeah.
All right, that is one for the books. That's a wrap. Again, thanks everyone. If you're coming in late, go back and watch the show from the beginning once it's archived up on YouTube there. Great. Tales from the Hangman, again, thank you. Gothic Rose, thank you. Everybody look for them on YouTube, Twitter. Subscribe to their channel, subscribe to this channel, hit that like button on your way out the door. Like, share, and subscribe. That's what keeps us going. And if you got money burning a hole in your pocket, check out the merchandise on the Teespring store. Got some awesome mugs in there. Donations accepted. Or support us just like you're doing here now by showing up and being a part of the Horde. Have a good day, everybody. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'm out of here.
Good.